Good evening, everyone. Hello, my name is Chris Davidson. I'm the head of the StartOut Growth Lab. Myself and two of our three amazing entrepreneurs in residence, Amaka Bayoria, Kelly McDonald, and I would like to welcome you to the graduation of Cohort 13 of the StartOut Growth Lab. Unfortunately, our third entrepreneur in residence, Corey Kelly, could not make the attendance tonight. We are here tonight to showcase 9 amazing companies that make up the cohort. For those of you that are new to StartOut and new to the Growth Lab, I'd like to let you know what the Growth Lab is. The Growth Lab is a 5-month accelerator program that helps support LGBTQ+ founders via education, access to capital, networking opportunities, and mentorship. We have some amazing success stories, and Brian Richardson, the CEO of StartOut, we'll discuss a few of those in a few moments. To learn more about StartOut and the Growth Lab, please go to startout.org/Growth Lab. Now, a few words from Brian Richardson and the Growth Lab sponsor, JPMorgan Chase. Brian, over to you.
Thank you so much, Chris. Hi, y'all. My name is Brian. I'm use he and him pronouns, and I have had the honor of being the CEO of StartOut for about 1.5 years now. In that time, since being at StartOut, I've had the honor of attending 3 graduations, or this rather is the 3rd graduation. And every graduation is unique and marvelous, but this one is especially marvelous. But it's worth noting that since we first launched the Growth Lab at StartOut, we've gone through 13 different cohorts and had more than 80 founders graduate. And those 80 founders together have raised more than $800 million in funding for their companies and have since gone on to grow, to hire, to build, and in some cases been acquired. And in fact, since this cohort started 5 months ago, 2 of our graduating companies, Real Blocks and Mate Fertility, have been acquired. And so there's a history of success for our graduates, and the folks graduating here today are taking a huge step forward and joining a great tradition of successful companies. So no, all of you have high expectations, and we expect you to fulfill them. But as I mentioned, $800 million raised, which is remarkable, but it's especially remarkable when you realize the disparities that queer founders continue to face in our country. In the last 20 years, $2.1 trillion have been invested in venture funding alone in startups. And of that, only 0.5% have gone to openly queer founders. So even though we're more likely to hire more folks when we get funding, we're more likely to file patents, we're more likely to have a bigger economic impact, and more likely to have a better return on investment than our cis straight counterparts, we're still facing real disparities. But our graduates of the Growth Lab are changing that and changing the narrative by moving those numbers in the right direction and reminding people across the world what queer founders can really do. We've got an opportunity, and all of y'all are seizing that opportunity and getting the job done. But for all of you graduating today, it's not just about you, and it's not just about creating your companies. It's about doing more, because you're changing the face of business and creating a more inclusive business world. You are seen by queer people across the world, and they see themselves be represented. That gives them spirit and hope to start their own companies. Or it gives them the idea that they can actually go and apply to work at companies like yours, where they can be their authentic selves and be open about who they are and thrive. Because of you, you are providing greater opportunities for economic independence and financial security for queer people writ large. That economic independence is a necessary step to ensure lived equality for all people. And that's what StartOut does. And that's what each of you are doing by growing your company and succeeding. So no pressure, but maybe a little bit. But more importantly, congratulations, because what you're doing is incredible. You're creating companies, you're building companies, and you're changing the face of business for all queer people. So congratulations to you, and it's an honor to stand with you, or rather sit with you here tonight. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, and behalf of everyone on the team at StartOut, and Chris and Jake, and our board of directors, congratulations. There's so much to celebrate. Now I get to introduce Ty Hutchinson from New York City. Ty is a former founder, a current investor, and she's also the vice president at JP Morgan's startup banking division. StartOut and our founders could not be more fortunate to have a partner like Ty and a partner like JP Morgan Chase, who not only provide funding for the program itself, but more importantly, they provide real, tangible living support and technical expertise and friendship, quite honestly, to each of our founders by pairing bankers from the startup division and other divisions to help us through our paths. And none of that would have happened without Ty. So Ty, I'm going to turn it over to you, and thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brian. I really appreciate that. And it's such a pleasure to see all of you all today from the cohort. And those in the audience who don't know me, my name is Ty Hutchinson, she, her pronouns, the vice president of the startup banking team. First off, I just want to say a huge congratulations to the Growth Lab cohort. This is a tremendous step in your journey as you continue to grow and scale your company. On behalf of JP Morgan, I'd like to say what an honor it is to be partnered with the Growth Lab and StartOut community in support of the LGBTQ+ founders and community as a whole. The startup banking team and myself at JP Morgan really enjoyed getting to know each and every one of you, and we cannot wait to see what you do next. This won't be the end, and we look forward to continue supporting each of you on your journey as you scale from pre-seed, seed, and beyond. You have a forever friend in us and a supporter in us. You have my email if you have any questions. And with that being said, I will pass along to Chris.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks, Ty. So that concludes kind of the introduction portion of the presentation. We're now going to be moving to the company presentations themselves. So Maka, please take us down that path.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Tonight we have 9 amazing companies that we're going to be showcasing. Each company is going to have 5 minutes to present. They're going to discuss their business, their progress during the Growth Lab, and highlight what's next for them now that they're done with the program. So now to our founders, I'd like to first introduce our first company, JD and Eric of Monica.
Awesome. Let me get my screen shared. Okay, can everybody see that?
Looks good.
Perfect. So JD and I met in business school, getting our MBAs, and at the time we were working full-time jobs while taking hours of night classes, and it made for some really long days. And what we wanted most at the end of those long days was a nice cocktail to unwind with. Now, my background is in cocktails. I'm a career mixologist with 15 years of experience, and I've founded several bars and restaurants of my own. But even with all that experience, after a long day, I don't want to muddle or infuse anything. I just want to enjoy a nice drink.
Yeah, and I can barely squeeze a lime on a good day.
So because of that, we ended up looking at cocktail mixers. And what we found on the shelves of the liquor stores and groceries that we went to were probably what most people think of when they think of a cocktail mix. These large plastic jugs filled with neon green liquid. They basically glow in the dark, and they taste terrible because they're made with terrible ingredients. Artificial everything, preservatives, tons of sugar. And we thought, somebody's got to make a better way to do this. And so since we were in an MBA program together, that's exactly what we did. So we leveraged my experience and spent about a year formulating, testing recipes, getting everything exactly right. And at the end of all that time, we had done it. We made the best tasting cocktail mix on the market, one that makes drinks that taste just like a bartender made them for you. And we scraped together enough money, scheduled our first production date, and it was scheduled for, I kid you not, March of 2020. And I'm sure you can guess how that went. Something else ended up launching. COVID happened and our co-packer ended up switching to producing hand sanitizer. We couldn't get on the line with them. We did not know what to do. We had spent all of our money on raw materials and ingredients, and we had no product. It was a very dark time, but we persisted and were actually able to launch later that year in November of 2020 with our product, Modica. So Modica is developed by career mixologists. They're award-winning mixers. They're great for both cocktails and mocktails. We use all natural ingredients, up to 70% less sugar than other mixers, and every bottle makes at least 10 drinks. And this all sounds great, but why is that relevant today? Well, as I mentioned, we launched during COVID, which may seem like a terrible time to launch a company, but it's actually a great time to launch a cocktail mixer because everyone was drinking at home. And it also turns out that is one of those COVID trends that's persisted even after the pandemic, staying at home, with over 59% of consumers reporting that they stay in more and go out less than they did pre-pandemic. So there's never been a better time for a cocktail mixer, and we're the perfect team to bring this product to market. So again, my name's Eric. I have 15 years of experience in restaurants, mixology, and cocktails, founded 2 bars and restaurants here in Louisville, and I have an MBA in entrepreneurship.
Yeah, and I'm JD and met Eric while we were both earning our MBAs in entrepreneurship. And I bring about a decade of experience in sales, marketing, and customer service. And although we are a small team, we're pretty mighty. And in the last 18 months, we've seen quite a bit of financial growth. So looking at 2023 to 2024, we saw 300% year-over-year growth, largely because we were partnered with 3 major retailers, but we've carried that momentum into this year, and we've seen Q1 growth exceed 400% year-over-year. And although we were working with these 3 major retailers, we've also had a lot of success with independent retailers as well. And because we can ship our product directly, we're now in, this says 24, but I think actually we're closer to 28 states right now. And we get a lot of really awesome anecdotal feedback from these stores telling us how much their customers love them, that that Modica is their best-selling product. And all of those anecdotal stories are so great. And we're even more excited to see that shared in the data that we receive as well. So if you compare Modica sales to our competitor averages across our 3 major channels of grocery, liquor stores, bars, and restaurants, then you can pretty quickly see that we're outpacing our competitors at a really high velocity. So Modica sells about 400% more product than our competitors in a given week, which is really incredible, and certainly at least partially attributed to the online community that we have fostered through Modica. So we've been able to consistently create viral content, which has helped boost our following count to the point that we have more followers than our 3 closest competitors combined. And as much as I truly love saying that, it's not purely a vanity metric. So we use that following to send them out to retailers where they can purchase in store or even purchase from those stores online. And we're really fortunate that we've built that community offline in the real world as well. It's always been really important to us as a gay-owned brand to partner with queer organizations, and we work with them at the regional, state, and city level. And one of our very first initiatives was working with Kentucky gay bars to offer and help create or supplement their mocktail menu. So whether a queer person was drinking alcohol or not, they had options and could feel really secure in in going to a gay bar. And I would say even beyond the customer success we've had, we received quite a bit of industry recognition. So last year, we were named Product of the Year by Food and Beverage Magazine, and this year we were named Non-Alcoholic Product of the Year. But we've also received a number of medals and awards from the SIP Awards, which is the largest consumer-judged competition in the world, which is really great. And we also had another recent win that happened so recently, we haven't put it on here yet, but we were actually invited to be a part of the SKU Accelerator starting this fall, which is the largest and most prestigious CPG accelerator. And we're super excited to be going straight from Growth Lab into that. So in addition to SKU, what's next for us is raising our seed round. So we've already completed our friends and family round last year. We're raising a larger round this year to help launch an improved value proposition with Modica, leveraging everything we've learned from customers up to this point. And then also so that we can launch with 2 more national retailers and really build out our national distribution. And of course, as much as we love working with each other, we really want to expand our sales and marketing team so that we can still be a mighty team, but not just a team of 2. And with that, if you are interested in learning more about investing in Modica or partnering with Modica, we'd love to have a conversation with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you both for that awesome presentation, and congrats on all the progress you've made in the last couple months.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Chris from Rare Candy.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? And can you see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Chris from Rare Candy. I have been a lifelong nerd since I was 10 years old, and I got my first Magic the Gathering cards. I'm the CEO of a company named Rare Candy, which our vision is to be the community marketplace for passionate fans of Pokemon cards, Magic cards, and other nerdcore collectibles. The business got started during the pandemic. I had worked in Silicon Valley in technology for, at that point, over 10 years. My sort of and specialization was content platforms and marketplaces. So I'd started my career at YouTube, and then worked for a number of different startups at many different stages as a product manager and a product leader, thinking really like, how do you create sort of community-driven and viral growth loops for marketplaces? But I never really sort of dreamed it would work in my childhood hobby until during the pandemic, like many people, I was stuck at home. Sort of my usual sources of entertainment, socialization, things to spend disposable income on were sort of cut off. And so I was spending a lot of money back on my card collection. And that's when I got in touch with my co-founder. We started talking about just the need to build a better marketplace to serve fans and collectors in this community. So, Pokemon cards, that was like 90s. Actually, Rare Candy and sort of types of culture collectibles focused nerds in the market are a massive and growing market. So we estimated $20 billion from trading cards to comics, toy, collectible, merch, memorabilia. And this is one, if not fastest area in collectibles. Pokemon grew at 4% annual over the last years. The other thing that's really interesting to me and who got into the kid, it's really a multi-generational. With that, I think there's evidence it doesn't matter going away. Adults are collecting kids, we grandparents with theirs. This is going to be a market that is for a real long time, and you even can just see this with the fact that like Pokemon is one of the largest media franchises of all time by revenue. And the thing that we noticed during the pandemic was, this was a side business. This was like a growth vertical for a bunch of the main incumbents. No one really has focused on this market or took sort of this community seriously. And with Rare Candy, me and my co-founder, we're both native to this space. We believed we could create the right expertise on our team, as well as the authentic passion to actually win this growing market. And so what we've built, I like to think of it as the sort of digital version of the dream local card game or comic book shop, which is the type of place that many, many people like me who sort of grew up in this hobby originally went to buy, sell, as well as meet other people in the space. And so we have built a mobile app and a website where you can buy everything from the highest end vintage collectibles to modern release inventory. You can participate in our live auctions. We actually have a really huge one going on right now that I was watching before this. As well as, and this is a really recent development, you can also sort of share and connect with others by building a digital representation of your collection, participating in our community features, and sort of learn more about the hobby and meet other collectors in a way that's not just about commerce. So, I joined StartOut with a couple of goals. One is we've been operating for a couple of years. We'd raised a seed round in 2022. We'd made a ton of progress, but it was sort of time to raise more money. And this, this environment was incredibly different than sort of the winter of 2022, where I raised right before the world really changed. The second goal I had is we had a really talented go-to-market team, but We had no senior leader on the team. I had sort of lost a previous COO probably 9 months before and kind of had kept that role open. And I think the business had developed to a point where it was really clear we needed to bring in someone to bring together sales, account management, and marketing to sort of drive the next phase of growth. And then finally, we had this big bet. We had this big bet since the start of the company, which is we wanted to be more than just a marketplace. We believe that in this very sort of community and social driven hobby, the marketplace that sort of integrated the most easy to use, joyful, and inherently social collecting tools would be the one to win long term and would be able to grow really, really efficiently through sort of viral network effects. But when I joined the Growth Lab, that was just a project, sort of like a glimmer in my eye. We were just starting to sketch out the designs. And so the goal was, how do we reignite the growth of the company by the launch of this essentially new area of our product? And I'm really proud to say that we have accomplished all three of these goals. Some of them came in quite hot at the end, but we raised an additional 1.5 million in funding. We're actually still raising another 500K as sort of an open option from both existing investors, and somehow the text lost this, dropped off of this slide, but also a bunch of new funds and angels. And I just have to say, StartOut was incredibly helpful in terms of the actionable tips on pitching, presentations, everything from like high-level fundraising strategy to like very tactical, like how do you manage a pipeline? How do you improve your cold outreach? And of course, a lot of coaching from Chris and Corey. And then just like, you know, the weekly moral support and inspiration from the other companies. You guys were an amazing peer group, and you always made me feel like, oh, I could be trying harder. I could like learn something from Heather on presenting, or learn something from like Matthew on how he's running his business. So just like having that friendly support, but also inspiration was so, so great. We hired a VP of revenue. Our top candidate started this week. And I think the growth plan was a really great catalyst that we built around halfway through the program to help me like realize like, hey, I need this role. I need someone to help me sort of own these OKRs, coordinate these people, and I've got to get moving on this. And then finally, and this is the one that I'm the most excited about because I've dreamed about this for years, that we launched our collecting features into beta about a month and a half ago. The beta sort of naturally grew just by people requesting to join it into 1,000 active users. Then 2 weeks ago, we launched sort of the public version. We sort of did a full push as Rare Candy 2.0, and early results are just like super amazing and promising. So our weekly active users are already up actually over 2.5x. You know, our weekly signups went from like 40 or 50 users to 200, 250, 300 daily signups. We ran a sort of drip campaign welcoming people to the product over the course of a couple of days. And then the last email, we asked them just how they would rate it. And the sort of initial NPS score for that product is 63%, which is actually like, I've never launched a consumer product with an NPS score of 63% or 63. And I think most exciting, I think like, you know, we were a company that had some good early traction, but I think people were still trying to figure out who we were. And I've just noticed that this launch has like completely reignited excitement and conversations with all of the key people in the marketplace that we want to be working with to sort of partner and grow. So really, really exciting times. So what's next? I'm excited to go crush this growth plan now that I have a sort of built out leadership team. We are really, really rapidly iterating on sort of Rare Candy 2.0, trying to find ways to optimize the growth and virality of these collecting tools, as well as a monetized sort of freemium subscription by the end of the year. And then, you know, we started to lay out a path to the next fundraise, and I'm starting to talk to investors about that. So we have a audacious goal, which is to get to 100K monthly active users by the end of the year, early Q1. And so, you know, so far we've doubled monthly active users to about 15,000 since launch. And so just another under 10x to go. And I dropped some screenshots here. I didn't talk to them, but just this is some real content that users are posting on our site. So people are sharing stories of their collecting hobby. This is actually someone who his wife made him art of one of his favorite Pokemon. And then people are creating these like beautiful profiles where they're showcasing their collections, following each other, and just getting excited about this as a way to sort of be a collecting companion to the hobby. So finally, just wanted to give shout outs and kudos to, I mean, first of all, thank you, Growth Lab. This was amazing. This experience blew my mind and exceeded expectations in every way. And then specifically, like Jake, thank you for the amazing facilitation. Corey, I know he's not here, but was fantastic with advice, chats, and just like we really were, I think, supportive and flexible with each other during some very tough times. Christy, love the wisdom bombs. Thank you for the tough love and also the encouragement at some really critical moments. And then I just have to say, like everyone who presented at the Lunch and Learns, like I've been in the startup scene for a while, like attended a lot of trainings and webinars and Lunch and Learns, and like these were many of the best that I've ever seen. And then of course, just like thank you to all the other companies. Like I just have to say, like it's so great to be inspired by watching everyone just kick ass, build really cool businesses, and support each other as LGBTQ plus people. So thanks everybody.
Congrats, Chris, on meeting all of your goals, big goals. So that's amazing. Up next, we have Spencer from Gaywater.
Okay, let me pull my screen up. I think everyone should be able to see it. But hi, everyone. I'm Spencer Hodison. I'm the founder and CEO of Gaywater. Before I jump into Gaywater, let me sort of set the stage. There are very few queer brands out there that sort of unapologetically represent the LGBTQ community on an authentic and human level. So as I'm sure many of you know, companies will show up for Pride Month every year and sort of disappear for the rest of the year, or do one sort of rainbow washing marketing campaign, or have an ad that has an LGBTQ couple, but kind of shy away from a sort of holistic approach that really incorporates the community into their sort of company ethos. So there is a gap in the market, particularly in the beverage space, for a brand to show up and really support the community year round. And let me be clear, this isn't a small or niche community. I mean, there are more queer people than Asian Americans in this country. There are more queer people than Jews, Mormons, and Muslims combined in the United States. The LGBTQ population has more than doubled in the last 12 years. It continues to grow, with every generation actually doubling their LGBTQ percentage for the last 4 generations. This is also a community more likely to drink, support their own, and our product is in a space that's growing rapidly. Just to kind of double down on the stats and sort of the insights, you can see about 1 in 5 Gen Z identify as part of the community. A recent BEM article highlighted that more Gen Z actually identify as queer than Republican in this country. And again, a community that drinks more. It has the same spending power as many underrepresented communities in the US, including pretty much the same spending power as the African American community, the Asian American community, and the Hispanic American community in the US. So there's never really been a better time for a brand like this. So what is our brand? Who are we? Meet Gaywater, a very, very fun brand. We are a mission-driven lifestyle brand, really aiming to bring representation to shelves. So I will be the first to say we didn't reinvent the wheel here with our first product, Gaywater, which has always been a colloquialism within the community for a vodka soda. So we canned it. We created a canned vodka soda, super simple, 3 ingredients, 80 calories, no sugar. We've won a couple awards, including Best Ready to Drink Cocktail from BevNet, who's the largest trade publication in the beverage space, and a couple of packaging awards for kind of bright, colorful, really fun cans. What we did reinvent, though, is the space for the queer community in these spaces where queer people both work and shop. Think your grocery store, your liquor store, restaurants, event spaces, concert venues, places where there is little to no representation aside from maybe a pride flag during the month of June. That promptly comes down at some point in July. So in terms of proof of concept, we've seen really fast growing brand awareness. In the last year, we've had a ton of online success. We've grown a community of over 125,000 followers, email subscribers, etc. Tons of video views, and over 1 billion impressions in earned media. We've been covered by everyone from CNN to Ad Age. And most excitingly, at least from my perspective as someone who comes from a marketing background, is that we spent $0 on marketing, which is really uncommon in the beverage alcohol space. So what's next for us? I just mentioned we actually just hit our first year in market about a week and a half ago, and we've seen a ton of success in retail. So we're really doubling down on that. We'll be launching in Whole Foods in California and New Jersey in the fall, and test placements in Safeway. We'll also be sort of deepening and continuing our relationships with Total Wine and Bevmo, which enable us to kind of drive higher velocity and hopefully expand our footprint into more of the Total Wine and Bevmo stores. Longer term, we have new products in the pipeline, new revenue streams, and new sales channels to explore. We haven't really sort of hit the tip of the iceberg with on-premise at bars and restaurants and concert venues. So a lot of exciting opportunity to go. As you can imagine, only a year in market. We are a baby in the space. How can you help? We've made massive strides based on our $125K pre-seed round. We're now in the middle of raising $1 million. I call it an early seed round. We're kind of teetering between pre-seed and sort of early seed. Use of funds for this round include deepening our sales team and focusing our footprint in the 4 key markets that we're in, which include California, New York, New Jersey, and Florida. We'll be testing our sort of first paid marketing campaigns and really investing in retail marketing to push product on and off shelves. From a partnership perspective, if anyone in the audience, anyone in Growth Lab has any CPG brands or folks in the beverage space that they'd like to introduce us to, I'd love to meet them. We're always looking for new retailer opportunities or collabs with other brands. And then lastly, I'd just love to say thank you to the whole StartOut team, the graduates and residents, and all of the guest lecturers and folks who have offered up support throughout this 5 months. It's really been amazing. I think Chris just mentioned it, but it's really heartwarming to be a part of this group of queer founders. It can be super isolating being a solo founder, especially a queer solo founder that focuses on a queer product. So Growth Lab has been really incredible. And if you're interested in chatting, feel free to shoot me an email or, as the youngins say, slide into our DMs.
Great work, Spencer. Awesome progress. Up next, we have Heather with SEMO.
Thanks, Maka. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, y'all can see that, hopefully. Let's get started. So, hi, I'm Heather Lauver, founder and CEO of SEMO.ai, your AI CMO using data to demystify marketing for today's entrepreneurs. Throughout my career, I have helped founders raise over $172 million in venture capital. Best of all, that was raised by 100% underrepresented founders. I have taken everything I have learned about the earliest barriers that these minority founders face, and I used it to create a platform called SEMO, your one-stop shop for instantly smarter marketing. Let's show you how it works. Tell us about your company, your competitors, and we'll do the rest. SEMO will trawl Crunchbase to discover what brand trends are driving success for founders just like you. We then combine that data with your strategy, asking you to choose 3 keywords defining your relationship with your customers. We take that data and strategy and generate a complete brand book with logo, colors, fonts, and more. In fact, we're currently building the very first AI to offer legally protectable logo generation, ensuring SEMO customers can protect the brands they create with us. But we don't stop there. With your new brand, we then instantly generate custom pitch decks, one-pagers, social media, and more, all in Google Workspace and all fully WCAG and ADA compliant. And yes, this deck was made with SEMO. Let's see SEMO in action with a real customer. Meet Professor Adams. He's a medical expert, but not a marketing expert. So his brand looks like this. And his deck? It's 60 plus slides of text, and more text. He used SEMO to create a new brand and a streamlined pitch deck, helping others to better understand his innovations and the people he serves. SEMO starts at just $160 per month for individual founders, and we also help accelerators and ecosystem partners present compelling demo days and graduate investment-ready founders, with SaaS subscriptions available in 3, 6, and 12-month packages. And our founders and partners really flip and love us. From our 2-year pilot to now, we've been the top-rated part of dozens of leading accelerator programs, and we've exceeded expectations for our individual founders, helping them raise over $20 million during our pilot. Take it from Sonia, SEMO's worth every penny. It truly has been an honor being part of StartOut's Growth Lab. As part of the program, we set 3 initial goals. First, we aim to get our Crunchbase algorithms underway. We're well on our way now, planning co-marketing efforts with our partners at Crunchbase for September, leading into our algorithm launch this fall. I'd say that's a check. Goal 2, seeing our sales funnels expanded and improved. We not only did that, but our sales funnel presentation helped us close over $600,000 in funding to date, on our way to an oversubscribed round. Keep your fingers crossed, we should get news on Friday. That's allowed us to hire a new sales team, but of course, we'd greatly appreciate warm introductions to accelerators, universities, and ecosystem partners to help keep those sales funnels flowing. Suffice it to say, check. Last but not least, we hoped StartOut's network could secure Canva and Adobe introductions. We not only got intros, we've acquired Canva API access, and we're already planning really cool and exciting integrations. But we do need your help to fully top this one off. If you happen to know anyone at Adobe, we'd love a warm intro. I'm calling this a check, though maybe just a half check. But if you know someone at Adobe, come say hi so we can make this a total 3 out of 3. Now, let's chat about what's next for SEMO. The rest of 2024 is all about sales and product growth. We'll keep building tools to help founders succeed, and we're attending a lot of big events this fall to meet founders where they are and get the word out. So if you're coming to Money 2020 in Vegas or Women's Venture Summit in San Diego, come say hi. Plus, our sales team is focused on securing partnerships so we can reach our goal of 1,500 users and 1.9 million in 2024 sales. To accomplish these ambitious goals, there's just one last thing. We need you. As I said, if you can help us out with introductions to accelerators, universities, or Adobe, that would be fabulous. Or if you'd like to sneak into our oversubscribed round, we'd love to have more underrepresented investors on our cap table. With your help, we can add one more check to our list of Growth Lab accomplishments. To close us out, from everyone here on Team SEMO, I want to say thank you. And especially to everyone at StartOut, thanks for being awesome. That means you, Chris, Jake, Kelly, Maka, Danny, Corey, Allison, all the Lunch and Learners sponsors, and all the amazing, inspiring founders in Cohort 13, and well, just everyone who makes StartOut happen. You've helped to make my dream come true. So from the bottom of my heart, and to represent everyone on Team SEMO, thank you. And to everyone in the StartOut community, I want to pay it forward. So I have one last question for you. Do you have a dream? I'd be honored to help you brand, market, sell, and pitch it. To fuel some more LGBTQ leaders, save 50% off SEMO through next week using code THANKS. Try us out for free, see what your brand could look like, and subscribe if you like what you see at my.semo.app. Thank you again, and cheers to the queer leaders of tomorrow's unicorns. Thanks so much.
Awesome, Heather. Thank you so much. Next up, we have Matt Goldman. Matt with Harris Solutions.
Thank you so much, Kelly, and great job, everybody. I've got big shoes to fill coming behind all these great presenters. Let me share my screen. And then let me share the presentation. All righty, can everybody see that? All right, awesome. So good evening. Thank you all for being here. My name is Matthew Goldman, and I'm the founder of Harris Solutions. You'll be hearing the term DSP throughout this presentation, so please allow me to explain what that is. You might not know that not a single package is delivered by Amazon. 100% of packages are delivered by independent contractors. Amazon calls those contractors delivery service partners, or DSP for short. Just a short company overview. Founding team as me, solo founder. Company values and vision, I'm not going to read those. The business model, it is a monthly SaaS subscription, and just some notable mentions. Hera was not the first to market in this space, but it became the dominant solution for DSPs, and we are 100% self-funded, and Hera was profitable within the first year. So what is the problem for delivery service partners? In a nutshell, the main bullet points: manual processes, data silos, poor data quality by using Excel, fat fingering numbers, paper-based files, paper-based everything, inefficient workflows, poor staff communication. With using Excel and paper, you can't run reports, and it's just no way to run a company. The solution is Hera. With Hera, it's the one-stop shop for these Amazon DSPs to run their last mile delivery company, from managing their, excuse me, I'm a bit under the weather still, from managing their employees' performance tracking, automating, delivering those performance metrics to the drivers, managing their fleet of vehicles, track and identify damage with AI. You have to roster your drivers and communicate to them what van they're driving each day, what their route and staging, all these different Amazon terms. Well, without Hera, you're doing it the manual way. Hera also helps them mitigate risk through a lot of electronic documentation that is helping these companies win claims and lawsuits. And lastly, endless reports to make business decisions with actionable data versus, endless Excel spreadsheets that make it really difficult to really know your business. So a little bit more about the company, customers and revenue. We're at nearly 400 customers, all are DSPs. Revenue growth from 2021, starting out at 908, to ending this year around 2.8 or 2.9 million. So we've, steady growth, but now post-growth lab, jumping ahead, next steps are going to really ramp up those numbers. And then something else I'm really proud of is our low churn rate and customer retention. Less than 100 customers have churned due to unhappiness with the software. Unfortunately, we lose a majority of our customers due to them closing their business or Amazon non-renewing their contract. What is the market opportunity? Well, there's around 2,500 DSPs in the USA. So there's still a sizable market for me to gain share. Next is market and customer diversification that will increase Hera's TAM significantly to the hundreds of thousands, namely entering the FedEx space. Amazon kind of copied the FedEx, what they call ISP model. And then lastly, we've got goals of international expansion to Canada and to European DSPs. Growth lab goals and successes, and some updates on the goals. When I started the program, I knew that there was a lot that I didn't know, and my goals, frankly, were probably not that great at the time, but through Growth Lab, there is so much that I learned and have done in this short period of time. So the first goal, it was to diversify the customer base, which is a really lofty goal, but Growth Lab has helped put me in that direction. And I'm going to talk about that in just a moment a little more. Also to create a unique sales plan. This is a very weird and small market. where there are competitors that are cold calling and spamming these owners, and that's just not the way that I'm going to grow the business. So through Growth Lab, I came up with the Hera Roadshow / mini conference, where I'm inviting my current customers and prospects and asking my current customers to bring a friend, to bring a DSP friend, and increase my sales through these mini roadshows. And the first one is actually tomorrow, so I am super excited for that. I set a goal that I was going to do it, and it's happening. So additional successes and achievements. Invested over 300,000 into the company. You might say, you know, how is that a success or an achievement? I hit a wall before starting Growth Lab. As a solo founder, there was just, and doing it all myself, there was so many things that I just wasn't doing that every normal company should be doing, like skip ahead, having a budget with a forecast. Because money was coming in, thankfully, I never really had a budget or a forecast. I am not ashamed to admit it. That is why I joined the program, was to learn and to grow the company and to better the company. Growth Lab helped with that significantly. Kelly, who introduced me, the first thing that she told me, I believe it was on our first call, Matthew, hire a virtual assistant. And then lastly, truly learn the state of my company through the numbers. And what I mean by that, and again, I'm not ashamed to admit, because I knew there was a lot of stuff that I needed to do with Hera. I didn't know my churn rate. I didn't know my, LTV. All of these important numbers I was not capturing because, again, just me running the company nonstop. I didn't have time to even, come up with all of those figures. So extremely grateful for Growth Lab, for we'll just go into the thank you slide. So thank you to Growth Lab, thank you to JP Morgan and the sponsors, thank you to Kelly, Chris, and Jake, as well as my cohort peers. You have all been so influential in kind of getting me through that wall, that roadblock that I encountered before Growth Lab, and helped me overcome so many obstacles. And then the one thing that I forgot to mention with that $300,000 investment, I was also at a standstill with where to take the company next, what features to build next. And, through Kelly, Chris, and Jake, they said, Matthew, build the features that you have been sitting on. Trust your gut. You built this company from scratch. You know your customer. Just do it. You need to invest more in the company. I ripped off the Band-Aid, and every new feature that I had lined up, it's all set into motion, and which is also going to help me diversify. So thank you all. Thank you, Growth Lab, and have a great evening, everybody.
Thank you, Matthew. Up next, Chris Witherspoon with Top Viewers.
Thank you. And Matthew, you're also a tough act to follow. Let me see, can I share my screen here? Slideshow. All right, you guys, my name is Chris Witherspoon. I am the founder and the CEO of Top Viewers. I grew up in a small town in Ohio, cornfield behind my house. My family, we definitely struggled a lot financially. We moved around a lot, lost several homes, but there was always a TV in the houses that we lived in. It was my lifeline. Most kids were outside playing, double dutching, playing tag. I'm inside watching Oprah, everything on prime time, memorizing the TV guide. TV was like the window for me to see myself and who I wanted to be. And I eventually made it from those cornfields in Ohio to the room where it happens. For the past decade, working for platforms like CNN, NBC News, MSNBC as an entertainment contributor. And along the way, I'm covering content, but I'm also seeing all these problems that really no one is solving around what people are trying to figure out what to watch, over the past 5 years. You all know it. You're going from app to app to app at nighttime, trying to figure out what should you watch. Netflix is telling you what to watch in their ecosystem, Prime Video, Hulu, etc. So solving the problem around what people are struggling to discover, and then also the networks and studios. I'm currently an NBC News entertainment contributor at 30 Rock, and they're bleeding money. They're going through a lot of capital because audiences are struggling to discover content. And for the past several decades, they've made content really from the art of content creation and not through science. So my team and I dreamed up the idea of Pop Viewers really being a content discovery platform that delivers next level customer sentiment to studios, to content creators, to brands. And while being in program, I brought on a CTO / co-founder, and we are now launching a really cool multimodal entertainment concierge. Her name is Whitney. If you're wondering, yes, she is an homage to the voice, Whitney Houston. But Whitney, in terms of our AI concierge, she helps you discover what to watch next. She's the voice of entertainment. We're kind of looking at all the different platforms that you have access to, but Whitney's learning you. It's a multimodal chat interface. On my other deck displays, I should have got Heather to help me out with this, but it's multimodal. There's real-time video. It's like ChatGPT, it's like Gemini, but it's up to date on entertainment content. And in fact, we're partnered right now with Google Cloud and Gemini team to build on top of their large language model for Whitney. What we do that's kind of cool is we bring all the sort of platforms that we know you have access to, like Prime, like Hulu, Netflix, Peacock, etc. And we're able to have this AI-powered personalization. So you're no longer, endlessly scrolling from app to app. We're able to curate content based on your mood, based on your location, based on trending content in your area, in your neighborhood, and it's all through the power of Whitney and AI. And then one last cool feature that we've developed since being in Growth Lab is the Discovery tab. It is a feature that will roll out this September, but essentially it meets the modern attention span where we're able to curate really cool 10-second trailers for you of content based on what Whitney knows you like. So if Whitney knows you like fashion, or you're into that true crime element of a show or a film, we're going to pull that 10 seconds that's going to loop you in. So you don't have to go on YouTube and watch a 5-minute trailer or a 3-minute trailer. Ain't nobody got time for that. And then how to make money is really data. So we're partnering right now, or in the process of partnering with some networks and studios to provide data akin to a lot of the platforms you probably have heard of, like Nielsen, et cetera, to help our partners understand what audiences are watching and kind of take that deep dive, not into just like who's or how many folks are watching, but really why they're watching. That is the $1 million question. What makes a hit? And Pop Viewers is helping to solve that. Some of our partners that we have in our company right now, Steve Harvey, the queen of MSNBC, in my opinion, Joy Reid is one of our active investors, Angela Yee, as well as Taj Gibson, who are helping us really tap into their different networks that they're tied to, but also helping us market this as brand ambassadors. When I got in Growth Lab, some pretty clear goals. We wanted to secure some enterprise level partnerships with networks and studios, increase our user engagement, user retention, and really get real about what's working and what's not working, and build and conceptualize Pop Viewers 2.0, aka Miss Whitney. Over the past 90 days, we got a partnership with Audible, $200,000 grant from Audible. We're moving our business in September to Newark on the Audible campus. And that deal, it's not just the grant, it's not just being next to Audible, it's them helping us tap into their Amazon ecosystem. So we're going to have clients like Freevee, IMDb, Amazon Prime Video. And then one of the things that I have experience with that I kind of shied away from was editorial all these years. What we recognize is we don't want Pop Viewers just to own the lion's share of how you're discovering content on your phone in an app, but also launching a .com. So over the past 60 days, we've worked on launching popviewers.com as the ultimate destination around what the heck to watch next. We launched it last month, and my COO is the former co-founder of thegrio that was sold, thegrio.com, that was sold to NBC News. So he really knows how to growth hack and also how to lock in certain partnerships. So as of yesterday, we sealed a deal with MSN.com to syndicate our pieces from popviewers.com across their like multi-million user base. It's going to be pretty huge for us, and we're already generating revenue from popviewers.com. Where we are right now is like this sort of phase we're in right now is launching and deploying Whitney this fall, really learning from her, closing in on some conversations that we're having with these bigger enterprise clients like NBC Universal, which is my family. I was a former NBC page and worked for them for over 10 years, Netflix, Warner Brothers, etc. And then over next year, as we scale and launch Whitney, sort of implementing her into these bigger ecosystems like the Roku devices, the Amazon Fire Sticks, and some of the networks and studios who have streaming platforms that are also trying to connect with their audiences post-screen. The ask, if you guys can help us out, introductions to investors. We still have $1 million of our $1.5 million round to raise. Brand ambassadors, Beyonce, if you guys know Beyonce, she's on my wish list as an investor and brand ambassador. And then if you can, download Pop Viewers version 1.0 right now on the Apple App Store. Bookmark popviewers.com. We have some really cool exclusive interviews. Oscar nominated actor Coleman Domingo, a few others, a new one up today, and then get ready for Whitney. My thanks, I want to shout out Kelly, my GIR. She really helped me feel the human connection around this experience and just make me have space to be vulnerable and tell my story. Chris, our one-on-ones have felt more like Super Soul Sunday sessions. You really have let me humanize myself in this experience and also talk about my vulnerability in areas that I want to grow in. And then Jake and the entire cohort, you've kept me inspired and motivated. And I'm just really happy to have been able to be a part of this experience. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Chris. I'll text you Beyonce's number later.
Thank you.
Next up is Jay Shinlin from Groby.
Great, thank you, Kelly. Okay, let me share my screen. Can everybody see? Yes, I hope so. Okay, great. Hi, everyone. My name is Joshin, she, her pronouns. Super excited to be here. Before I begin, I just want to say what a blast at the P-Town during the 4th of July, which thank you, StartOut team, for the invite. Okay, so what problem are we solving here? Groby is for international students who desire to work in the US. However, they have very little courage, confidence, and knowledge to really navigate the Western corporate world. For us, our beachhead market is the Chinese international students, and we picked this beachhead market with a very particular 3 reasons, as listed below. Number 1, I myself come from China, been in the States for more than 15 years now. I have very deep insights in terms of the journey that international students, especially from China, are experiencing through in networking and cultural differences. Number 2, Chinese students are also the biggest international student population in the US. And number 3, perhaps one of the most important thing is that this segment is very premium, that has a very strong willingness to pay for coaching and career development. So how do we pick networking skills to begin with? Because 85% of jobs in the US are landed through networking. However, there's no existing resource to teach someone who is not from this country how to do that properly. And so with that, we launched our very first product, which is a networking bootcamp. Indeed, we used to price at $500, but during our time at StartOut, we actually up our price to now to $800 per person. Essentially, it is a month-long program that we teach students how to network step by step. It has different learning components, let it be live classes, one-on-one coaching, different mock sessions, and the learning platform. One thing that we are really proud of is how effective our bootcamp is. We have a little bit of the bar chart here to really show you the effectiveness before and after. And the things I was articulating earlier in terms of the courage, confidence, and the ability to build relationships are the metrics we're measuring before and after the bootcamp. The other thing that we're really proud of seeing how effective this bootcamp is we have tangible results. About 60% of our students who've gone through our bootcamp actually got either their dream internship or offer, a full-time offer, within 3 to 6 months after graduation from our bootcamp. And we also had a really amazing NPS of 85 from 300 students we took in our bootcamp in the past. I think the reason that make us really great in what we do are these 3 reasons below. Number 1 is really a networking expertise that, I myself have spent so much time in networking, and I also have a teaching partner who came from an education background. And together, we really put our personal lived experience with the academic research on psychology to really master our curriculum. Number 2, we really lean in with our first train empathy, really understand the pain points that our customers are going through because we've experienced that ourselves. And lastly, we have this really amazing community that we are building, that everybody feel belong, they feel seen, they feel safe, and together we become better every single day. So to date, we actually have over 300 Grow Bee alums went through our programs. 60% of them study STEM degrees here in the US. And with that, they take us to about 150K revenue. We have a really good margin, and we've seen a 3 times growth since I worked on this full time last summer. So my biggest learning in this startup journey is this: a funnel. I've learned this in business school, but back then it was really just a picture. But I really want to give a huge shout out to Maka and Chris to really help me understand this. It took me a long time to finally put this into action. I think I know the framework really well, but I just really didn't take the time to do it in the past year. But now we are implementing this every single day in our organization, where we are meticulously tracking how many leads we're seeing in each channel, how many calls we're able to book, and how many sales we're able to close. And so with this funnel, we are actually, so with that funnel, here's our goal for the next 12 months, which is to hit 1,000 boot campers and then hit 100 million in revenue. And we are actually really confident with this framework, we'll be able to get there. One thing I do want to call out is that for us to get there, there are 3 things I would like to keep it. One is that I would really try to delay spending money on marketing. So far, all of our growth have been organic, and it's been really amazing. So that's the what we can do. Number 2 is we would love to keep our margin. I understand it might be hard as we continue to grow, but with the current setup, this is very possible. And number 3, we would really like to keep our mission, which is to unlock career success for international students. Okay, so what is the big plan for Grow Bee a couple of years down the road? It could be M&A. I think for me, I'm thinking about the core assets that we are building in the past year and the ability that we'll continue to grow those core assets. I think we have a very strong audience that we are gathering. At this current moment, it's really about all the Chinese overseas Gen Z, which is a very premium segment that many brands are looking after. Number 2 is this category leadership, really focusing on soft skill development, networking, cross-cultural competency, and communication. Number 3 is the community that we already built out, right? There are so many adjacent services that you can think about for a very loyal group that we are seeing repeating purchase from our core group. And number 4 is really our brand. It's very positive, it's very helpful, and we are all family together. And so one ask for today is that we are looking for career mentors to further help us to grow our cohort experience at Grow Bee. And so if you're interested in helping out international students, please feel free to LinkedIn me. And lastly, I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody here at StartOut. It's been an amazing journey. And I know this is just the beginning. I look forward to see hopefully some of you in October for the StartOut Gala. If not, please keep in touch. I'm here for you. If there's anything I can be helpful, please don't be a stranger. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Jason. Next up, David Spector with Studius.
Hello, everyone. Good evening from New York City. It's 9 p.m., close to my bedtime, but excited to be here. So today I'm going to be talking about Studius. Studius is an upskilling tool for busy professionals to advance their careers. So, oops. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, I'm gonna have to scroll. Like I mentioned, Studius helps busy professionals to gain workforce skills, starting with finance and accounting. Workforce credentials are a key driver of economic mobility, and also a way for people who are both have college degrees and who don't to prove their skills and employability. When I graduated from college, I didn't really understand the difference at the time between how to study in the library and how to actually learn skills and build my sort of skills profile and my career on the job. And a big part of Studius is understanding the needs both for college graduates who don't know how to change how to learn, how to study, and as well as those who don't have college degrees, but who want to have access to economic mobility and better jobs and higher paying jobs. So we launched Studious by first doing about 47 interviews with a sort of our target demographic, but folks in general across about 20 different workforce credentials. And we really found overwhelmingly that the number one thing people said they lacked was the time to study and prepare. And the tools that are out there are both expensive in terms of their tuition, but also what's known as the cost beyond tuition, the time that's required to commit to these training programs is really not feasible, especially for folks who might have multiple jobs, families. They really can't often find time to do it, and therefore there's a lack of representation. So what is Studious? We're an AI-powered upskilling tool focused on finance and accounting. And how does it work? We map users, customer students on over 1,000 competencies, focusing on their strengths and weaknesses and their learning style across all of these competencies, and then lay out all the steps to success for you as an individual. And what has this led to so far? We've seen in our first launch exam, the CFA, higher pass rates, less study time, and high NPS, and anecdotally, high degree of happiness and testimonials, addictive repeat behavior, and as well as a more diverse and equitable representation of users. We have about 3 times the average users on our platform are female. We have many immigrant stories, folks who said they could never access a tool before ours. Part of our innovation is our curriculum engine. So we're using Gen AI to allow us to scale into new skill areas and exams in about 3 weeks while ensuring really high quality, much lower cost for us in development. And we've innovated in the way that we're developing these lessons by doing things like using the Wall Street Journal API to make learning and skill-based lessons in our app relevant to news stories, things that people are familiar with, and make it more engaging and less like the dry academic material that they're used to. Our growth lab goals were about 50% growth in month-over-month users. We hit about 80%. We focused on our funnel, like Joshua was mentioning. That was a big win for us in terms of really operationalizing and having a repeat process of being able to take certain actions and see increase in our signups. We launched our new mobile app on 7/15, which we're very excited about. And we raised a pre-seed last year. We're prepping for a September early seed, to use Spencer's terminology. And we did land 1 B2B customer. Here's a snapshot of our mobile app. 3 ratings so far, all 5 stars. I won't be mad if you go and give it a 5-star rating in the App Store or download it and check it out. Thanks very much.
Thank you. And last but definitely not least, Greg Gasperin from Verify.
Thank you very much. Hopefully not least. Let me share my screen, please. 1 second. And thanks to my skills pal, David, who just went before me. So hi, I am Greg. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Verify. Skills are the currency of every workforce and every worker. And Verify is the first real-time skills marketplace. The future of work is skills-based. It's not only a more equitable way to manage teams, but it more closely aligns your org's needs with available talent. And that results in increased efficiency, which of course directly impacts revenue. But orgs of all sizes are struggling to make this change. The federal government, along with corporations like Walmart and Google, are investing millions of dollars each year to try to find ways to transition their orgs to a skills-based approach. And at the same time, small to medium-sized organizations are relying on a patchwork of high overhead and manual processes to achieve their skills-based goals. So the need is there, but existing tools are falling short. Current methodologies are very labor-intensive. Managers alone spend an average of 210 hours a year on annual performance reviews. And the resulting data is heavily skewed by personal bias and also by memory bias. Plus, everyone hates annual performance reviews. Only 2% of CHROs think they're effective. and that is a super low number. There's also no transparency. Your title hides the skills you truly have, or in a lot of cases, it hides the skills you don't have. But opportunities are based on title, which limits the career paths of skilled workers. And employees only get feedback periodically, usually once a year, which results in surprise feedback at performance review time. Plus, there's no trust in the process because there are so few data points, mostly coming from just one manager. Employees can't trust that their work is being fairly evaluated. Merify enables continuous skill-level feedback and automates the vetting of that data with our proprietary data analytics, which are very close to being patented. In our solution, skill proficiency is based on the first-hand observations of many rather than the second-hand interpretations of a few, just like any scientific study. This not only limits bias, but it also focuses the process on proven skills, not perception or self-promotion, which many people are excellent at. Our solution is lightweight, capturing and interpreting first-hand observations in the flow of work and outputting real-time skill profiles that require no maintenance. Our solution is transparent. It unlocks a worker from their title so that they're free to explore opportunities based on their skills and proficiencies. And because the data is kept up to date in real time, employees and managers are always on the same page. They're always looking at the same data. So there are no surprises or difficult conversations at review time. And our solution is trusted. With more data points coming from diverse sources, you gain accuracy in the results and build employee confidence in the system. So Merify's trustworthy and equitable data makes skills-based talent management possible for companies of any size. Our skills marketplace makes career paths transparent for all workers. It builds targeted individual development plans to get you to the role you want, and it even evaluates the effectiveness of training programs. While our current focus is on skills-based talent management internally, Merify actually works in exactly the same way for external candidates as it does for internal employees, giving you a consistent method to hire, onboard, and grow talent. That flexibility expands Merify's potential market to all of talent assessment. It's a large market and it's growing pretty rapidly. We're a subscription-based SaaS model with a pricing structure of $10 per employee per month. We've also been having conversations in the talent acquisition space, specifically with alumni groups who are looking to make their members searchable by skill for job opportunities. And since Merify can quickly identify skill gaps and build individual upskilling plans, additional revenue options include partnerships with those upskilling providers like Coursera or Pluralsight or Studious. Our first subscriber is a future of work consultancy called The Ready. Their initial use case was rolling out their skills-based career progression framework, which is a process that notoriously takes months or even over a year. We rolled it out to them in 2 weeks and gave them a full picture of the skills of their workforce. They used our data to optimize their org structure, match skill needs with skills that people had in a more effective way. And that saved them $156,000 annually, which represents a 50x return on investment. And it also opened up the budget for 3 new hires. Now they're using Merify to keep that data up to date with almost no overhead, with plans to expand usage to include hiring with Merify. And they're also funding the development of a new feature on our product roadmap. Also today, we just signed a new contract to develop another feature on our roadmap with a partner that is funded by the Walmart Foundation. And Merify would love your help. We're currently raising a 500K bridge round to increase our valuation before a potential seed round. This funding will give us the resources to acquire and serve our next 15 mid-sized customers. It'll also help us expand our infrastructure to serve 3 to 5 larger customers in 2025. And intros are, of course, always appreciated, whether they're to Beyonce or others. Potential customers, for example, in HR director or learning and development roles at small to mid-sized businesses would be greatly appreciated, though we wouldn't say no to a federal government contact either. Or potential partners in the HR space, tech space, specifically skill training providers. And that's it. Thank you very much for the time. Thanks, of course, to StartOut and to Cohort 13. It's been really great getting to know everyone. Please reach out and connect with me anywhere you like, LinkedIn or whatever. If you want to learn more about Verify, possibly check out a demo or maybe just nerd out about data analytics.
Very cool. Thanks, Greg. And thank you, everyone. This wraps up the graduation. I want to thank all the founders for an amazing 5 months together. We can't wait to see all that you're going to do in the coming years. I also want to thank our epic teammates at StartOut for all their support in making Cohort 13 an amazing success. And of course, thank you to their sponsors. None of this would be possible without you.
Final words. That's a wrap for graduation cohort 13. I'll get on the Beyonce train. Anybody has that cell phone number, please add that. As it relates to cohort 14, just a quick update for people. We are in the selection process. We're doing final interviews now. In the coming days to week, there'll be a new cohort release. So please take a look at that. That cohort will start on September 2nd. So cohort 13, amazing job. We will all miss you. Jake Hannigan, thank you for being an amazing program coordinator, for making this all happen. Thank you, amazing graduates and residents. And that's it for me. Any final words from Brian or Ty? If not, oh, no.
Yeah.
Ty, any
Yeah, honestly, again, just blown away by the tremendous growth that you all have had as you've been growing and scaling your companies. You know, as you continue to go on that journey, Startup Banking team is here to support you as you're moving pre-seed, seed, and Series A stage. So you'll have our emails, and we're so happy to support you. Thank you so much for this amazing opportunity to be a part of this. Chris and Brian, we really, really appreciate it. And thank you so much to the team. And you all were amazing, blown away. I'm in New York. It's late at night, but there's no place I'd rather be than here tonight.
Thanks, Ty. Go have cocktails. It's late. Go to bed. Have some gay water. Have some Modica. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you at the next graduation.